evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ron Wallace here with Ballin' Down South. I got another interview today on the interview. This is our third interview of the day, our final interview. And I can tell you this next guest I have on here is not new to basketball as well. She's a graduate of Louisville Cardinals, University of Louisville. Helped the Cardinals to the NCAA championship game in 2009 and to the Sweet 16 in 2010. She led the team in scoring as a sophomore, as a sophomore. Tied the school record for three-pointers in a game, and she was a member of the 1,000-point club before leaving Louisville. I can tell you, they call her Big Shot Becky for a reason. I'm going to definitely get her on here and ask her where did that name come from, because we know big-time players make big-time plays in big-time situations. So I can tell you this, before we bring her on, we're going to give you a blast from the past.
All right, we're here with Becky Burke from Louisville. Becky, talk a little bit about your invitation to this event. You got to be pretty excited to be down here.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here, and I'm glad that I get to share this experience with 7 other great girls and great shooters.
Now, we got your Louisville men's team in the Final Four. A lot of Louisville fans are going to be in the area. I'm sure you have pretty good representation down here. That's got to be pretty exciting, huh?
Yeah, I have a lot of people coming, and hopefully I can give a little preview of what our men are about to bring this weekend, so I'm excited.
And, shooting off the rack is different than shooting in regular games. You got a strategy going into this?
I've been practicing all week, so strategy is to make as many shots as possible, and I'm going to do my best.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and introduce the new USC Upstate women's head basketball coach, Becky Burke. How you doing today, Coach?
After watching that, I'm doing great.
I said she's gonna get a kick out of this, but I said I'm gonna give her a blast from the past. I found that on the internet. I was like, man, yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. So how's the family? How's everybody since this pandemic is going on?
We're doing well. Just getting through it, just like everybody else. Trying to just every day do the best we can with the situation that we've been given.
Well, we're gonna jump right into it, just so that the people that's watching this interview don't know exactly who Becky Burke is. I want to know. Where did the Big Shot Becky nickname come from?
Yeah, so I think kind of like you said, I just, throughout my career in Louisville, I was put in a lot of really good positions to be, late in the game and in positions where I needed to make a big shot. And, my coaches and teammates put me in those positions. And luckily I was able to more times than not make those shots. So that nickname just kind of found its way to me and stuck ever since.
Well, that's pretty good, Coach. So when did you originally start playing basketball yourself as a player?
I started probably taking it serious in 6th or 7th grade. I was kind of a late bloomer. I was a swimmer up until that point, and that was kind of my first love. But yeah, from about 6th and 7th grade on was really, I took it as my primary sport and just focused on that completely.
Well, how did Louisville get on Louisville's radar during recruitment? Did they recruit you early or they waited till your senior year?
Yeah, actually, what's funny is I actually signed with the University of South Carolina, and there was a coaching change there. And so then I got my release from South Carolina, and Louisville was one of the first schools to contact me once I got my release. And so obviously, Coach Jeff Walls, Stephanie Norman, that crew, that was my first visit. I had probably 5 or 6 visits lined up after I got my release, and I didn't leave that visit uncommitted. I signed right there on the spot when I visited there. So yeah.
Well, no, talk a little bit about your when you first got into coaching. Looking at your resume, you've done a lot of coaching, assistant coaching. You've done other things on basketball staffs other than actually being a coach as well.
Yeah, when I got done playing professionally overseas, I knew that I wanted to stay in the game, and I knew that I probably wanted to go the coaching route, but I had never actually done it. So my first foot in the door was out at Cal State Fullerton. I was the director of basketball operations for Darren Park and his staff out there for 1 year, which gave me some really good experience. And, after that season, I decided I really want to be on the floor coaching as opposed to in this administration role. So after that, I had my first opportunity as a Division II assistant. And then from being a Division II assistant, I transitioned to being an NAIA head coach. And then after being an NAIA head coach, Division II head coach, and now my first job at the Division I level, which is super exciting for me. And it's all happened really, really fast.
Yeah. Well, I've seen some videos from some of the places you've been, and definitely from what I read, you are a fiery coach. So I know you get excited just as much as your players get excited because you've been there, done that. And I guarantee if they don't do something the way you want them to do it, you like, do I need to show you in? But
Yeah,
talk a
I
little.
think
Go ahead.
fiery is probably the word that most people say when they describe me. So it's funny that you say that. But yeah, definitely. Just really passionate about the game and about my players.
Now, getting the job at USC Upstate. How did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, the hiring process, after the end of every year it seems pretty standard where there's a lot of jobs that come open at around the same time every single year. But this year with the virus and COVID and all that type of stuff going on, it's just, I think it was a little bit of a different time frame. And I was not like actively looking to leave Charleston. And, this is a job that I think was one of the later ones that came open. And, the more I looked into it, the more people that talked to me about it, the more I just realized that it was a potential really good fit. And, for me, that was the most important thing, that you don't just take a job because it's Division I, that you take your next job because it's a really good position for you to be successful and really do something there. So I found all those things at USC Upstate, and, here I am.
Now I know you haven't been there that long. How has the community there at Upstate has taken you in?
Yeah, it's only been a couple weeks, but everybody on campus, everybody in athletics, obviously, everybody that I've run into just on campus in general has been amazing. And I've been out downtown to eat dinner, a few nights, and just, it seems like almost every night that somebody recognizes me or welcomes me to USC Upstate. So it's really cool, the support of the community and the support of the university as well.
Well, that's something good to have, behind a program, the community accepting the head coach and things will go there. But, they're going to be looking for you to bring some wins in there up that Upstate in the Big South Conference. So have you been able to talk to any of your new players that you're going to be coaching at all?
Yes. So actually, the day that I was announced, our athletic director, Daniel Feig, he got me on a Zoom call with our team, and I got to just address them really quick as a group. And then, the next couple of days after that were pretty hectic. But since then, it's been really great reaching out to them individually, talking to them on the phone, texting, and just starting to build those relationships, because that's where it starts.
By talking with them, and I don't know if you can or not, can you see that where you can probably going to see some of your leaders, or have you been able to look at any video footage, any games from last season of these guys?
Yeah, I think more so in talking to them and just kind of seeing, in our group chats, who's taking the lead, who's really organizing things without me having to kind of hold their hand, and the players that are reaching out and just really being assertive in terms of like what the next steps are for our program, how can they relay messages to their teammates, from that standpoint. Yeah, I've definitely seen a couple of them step up, and it's going to be really interesting. I think the best part about a new coaching staff is every single player has a fresh start. And, if you want to be a leader, then go ahead and be that. If you didn't like, who you were to the last coaching staff, change that for us, and be who you want to be these next couple years. And especially with this new staff coming in, just form your own identity and from the very start.
Now, with all the knowledge and the experience that you have, from the lowest level all the way up to the highest level at the professional league, what do you think you can contribute and instill in your ladies there at USC Upstate?
I really feel just, it starts in recruiting, but, during their time at Upstate as well, just the fact that I can relate to them, and I have walked in their shoes, and I have been there, and I have done that, and I've done it at a really high level, so there's really nothing that they're going to go through during their days or their weeks or months or years at Upstate that I haven't gone through myself. There are so many struggles and so many things that go on in your life outside of basketball as well, that they can just feel comforted in coming into my office and saying those things to me and venting and, really just being able to relate to my players, because, I'm still pretty young and I was them not too long ago. So I think that's been the main thing that I'm excited for, is for them to be able to have that relationship with me.
Now, what are some of the guidelines that you guys, your athletic director, yourself, all have talked about, with dealing with the COVID and bringing players in to work out and stuff of that nature?
Yeah, it's been kind of a waiting game, waiting on the NCAA in terms of what they were going to do and what dates we could start and that kind of just happened, yesterday. So it's been a little bit of a waiting game for the NCAA to do their thing, and then you obviously have to follow the state guidelines and the university guidelines. And I know we're safety first and foremost, so to us that's the most important thing. At the end of the day, basketball comes second to our safety and making sure these young ladies and their parents and their families feel safe sending them back to school. And we are going to follow all the guidelines that we're given, and obviously it's going to be a learning curve and a learning process for all of us because we haven't had to deal with this before.
Right.
But no, we're going to do it as safely as we can, and as much as I want them back and as badly as I want it to be tomorrow, I understand why everything's happening the way that it is.
Now, what basically is your coaching philosophy when it comes to coaching players and what you expect out of them?
Yeah, I think, my philosophy starts with just the relationships that you have with your players. And I think, the style that I coach would be described as, like you said, fiery. I coach them hard. I'm very brutally honest with them, but I feel like I can be all of those things because I do have a really good relationship with my players. And I feel like any coach that has good relationships and authentic relationships can coach their players a lot harder without them taking it personally. And those things aren't formed overnight. So again, that's something that I'm really looking forward to having at USC Upstate and to starting those things now. And hopefully those relationships grow and can do that in a really real, authentic way so that at the end of the day, we can get everything we can out of these guys. And they'll just play so hard for my staff and I because they do respect us, have that relationship with us, and we respect them too at the end of the day.
Now, if a kid wanted to come play for your program, coming out of high school, basically, what are you looking for in a player when you're trying to recruit a player to play for your program?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, you look for the person that they are and not just the player that they are. Obviously, academics is huge, the type of person that they are to, people in the community, the reputation that they have in terms of just being a very well-rounded, all-around good person, because you don't want headaches and people that, are really going to cause problems in your program or cause problems for the university or for your community. So I look for really good people. And then, obviously I look for people that can play as well. And so for us, we're really looking for people that are going to fit into the culture of what we want to build here. And that's that winning mentality, just high level competitors that just refuse to lose, people that can obviously put the ball in the hole and defend. I mean, that's going to be the name of the game. Obviously you've got to sit down and you've got to guard every night. But I think where this team struggled the last couple of years is on the defensive end of the floor, or on the offensive end of the floor, putting the ball in the hole. So obviously you got to be able to be a well-rounded player or a well-rounded person. But for us, the intangibles, being that fierce competitor, gym rat person that just wants to come in and do the right things and be a great leader or a great follower, a great teammate, somebody that just buys into the vision of what we have for this program. And that's ultimately to play for some Big South championships.
Now, have any of your competitors, other teams in the Big South Conference, reached out to you, congratulating you coming to Upstate, anything like that at all?
Yeah, I got a lot of love on Twitter from a lot of assistants, a couple head coaches in the league. I actually don't have a USC Upstate email yet, so that's coming. So I'm sure once that comes, a few more people will have a little more access to me. But yeah, social media was crazy when I got announced. And so I just really appreciated everybody reaching out and showing the love and just, wishing me the best of luck. But yeah, a lot of those coaches came from our conference.
Well, I can say this, since we mentioned social media, what do you, with start going back to the young kids and your recruiting, what do you feel about social media, good and bad? What can it do for you? Because, I talked with a coach earlier today about branding, and, nowadays social media, that's basically college coaches go look at that in your history and stuff of that nature. What are your take on the social media?
Yeah, I think it's a game changer. And I say that because I think it's a game changer in a good way for players. And I think it's a game changer in a bad way for players. I've heard a lot of stories about, it hasn't happened to me personally when recruiting yet. But I have heard, coaches that are really close to offering a kid and then, something pops up on their timeline and it's a complete turnoff and a complete red flag. So that's a game changer in a negative way. And then I also think, from a positive standpoint, you getting yourself out there and getting your name on a billboard, so to speak, and putting your highlights and your stats and clips of you and reaching out to coaches. Like, we didn't have all that when I was being recruited. And so it's just a really, really unique tool that, you're crazy if you don't take advantage of it.
Now, as a coach, and we staying on the recruiting topic, if a kid got a highlight, what do you as a coach expect to see in a highlight, and do you want full game film?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about highlights, I think they can be obviously they're accurate sometimes, but I think they can also be really misleading. So if you see a highlight on a kid and you like it, well, you also have to follow up and do your homework and say, who are their AAU coaches, who are their connects, who are their high school coaches, and things like that, to make sure it's not just a highlight reel, and make sure that they can do that on a consistent basis. So I think they're misleading sometimes. I also think you definitely need to see game film after you watch those highlights. But I think the highlight reel, especially on like Huddle, I think that's a really unique tool to be able to spark interest of a coach. But they're definitely going to dig deeper after they watch that highlight.
Now, I don't know if you're gonna get down here to the Alabama area and try to do some recruitment, but I can tell you it's a lot of kids down here that can play. A lot of young ladies can play some basketball down here. That's one of the reasons why we started Balling Down South, to help them, you guys, get notice these kids that normally don't get noticed by the media. And that's one of the reasons why we brought you on here today, so you can explain to them so they can see, hey, college coaches are looking at things that they're looking for. If you could talk to a kid. And if you could talk to a kid today that they're going into their senior year, about to go to college and try to play at the next level, what would you tell those kids?
Oh man, I would tell them just to really keep a small circle of people that you trust, and to really take advice from people that have been there, that have experience, that have played at the college level or know what it's like to play at the college level. And I would just say, the most important thing that a high school senior going on to play at the next level can do is really just work out before they get to college at the speed that they're going to be going when they get there. And I think just that level of speed, both defensively and offensively, if you're working out half speed or at high school pace, when you get to college, it's just going to be a whole new ball game for you. So I think surrounding yourself with other players that you're working out with that go at that speed, that go at that pace, that go as hard as you're going to go in college. Because I think the speed of the game on both ends of the floor is probably the biggest difference. And again, just really taking advice, picking brains, and making sure that you're doing your homework on, what can I expect when I get to the college or university of my choice.
And that it's funny you say that, because myself and one of my other co-hosts, we always say there's levels to this thing, because you can my son, well, and you'll probably get to know who he is. He plays for Charleston Southern University. He'll be going into his senior year, and
Okay.
I've been to a game there at Upstate, so I've been to your facility there. And when he comes home and he plays with some of the other kids, they want to play with him because they know they're trying to get to the level where he is. And you can definitely see the difference between the way he plays and the other kids. He's at a different. He hit other gears that they can't hit, and like you said, you've got to surround yourself with talent, with people that's already there or been doing that before. So definitely, we thank you for coming on the network today. Definitely get you back on again.
Yeah, we would love to see some Alabama players up here at USC Upstate. So spread the word. Tell them to email me.
All right, great. They got South Alabama down here and a lot of those other schools, but we're going to try to help send some that way too to you. So
yes, sir. Call me.
Yes, sir. This is USC head women's basketball coach Becky Burke. How you doing, Coach? And definitely keep winning, keep going, and we'll be watching you guys this season.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Coach.